All right, this is 2.4b, the second video on solving right triangles. This is example number 2. And in this one, they're giving us two sides. On the last one, they gave us, what did they give us? An angle and a side. This time, they're giving us two of the sides, and they're asking us to find the B and the A in the angle B up there. All right, so again, probably the simplest way to find side B is to take a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And we know a is 29.43. So we square that, plus b squared equals 53.58 squared. And we can just use that to find b. And once we're done, we find out b is 44.77. Now that's an approximate value. That isn't exact because we took the square root and we just rounded it. All right, so now we've got two angles to find. But it's pretty easy to find these angles. Let's start with b, because we can use any trig function we want because we know all three sides of the triangle. So we can take the tangent of b, and that is opposite, which in this case is 44.77, over adjacent, which is 29.43. We could also take the cosine of b and get the opposite, or I'm sorry, the adjacent, 29.43 over the hypotenuse. Or we could take the sine of b, and that would be the opposite over the hypotenuse. We could also take the cosecant, secant, and cotangent as well. So one of the things that you're going to find here is when you divide these out, you're going to get different answers for each one. So let's go ahead and do each of these. I mean, you're not going to actually do these problems like find all three of these, because really what are we looking for? We're looking for angle B, and we're using any one of these to do it. But what I want to do is do all three of them to show you that we're still going to find B no matter which one we do. Alright, so when we take the 44.77 and divide it by 29.43, we get 1.52. When we take 29.43 and divide it by 53.58, we get 0.55. When we take 44.77 and divide it by 53.58, we get 0.84. Okay, so if we were to take if we were to look for the tangent, cosine, and sine, we would get the same angle, or at least pretty close. I rounded these decimals up, so it's not going to be exact. But so now I've got, let's just take the bottom one here. Let's just take the sine of b. I've got the sine of b equals 0.84. All right, that does not give me the angle. All that does is tells me that the ratio between the opposite and the hypotenuse is 0.84. So in order to find out what the angle is, that's where you use the key on your calculator that looks like that. It's the sine button on your calculator, and then above it, it'll say sine of -1. That's the arc sign. What that means is you are going to get the angle instead of the ratio, because normally if you were to put the sine of 30 degrees in, you would get a ratio or a decimal. But we've got the decimal and we're looking for the angle. So what we do is we write this, whenever we're looking for the angle, we put a -1 and we put the decimal there like that. And when we do that, that'll spit out an angle for us so that we are able to find out what that angle is that we have up here in the picture. And in fact, in this case, we're looking for angle B. So when we put this into our calculator, right there, we will get angle B. And the same is true when you're looking for angle A. You're given two sides, and we found all three sides, and then it's easy to use the trig functions then to find the other two angles. Alright, so we're going to jump up to angles of elevation or depression, and we'll start that on the next video.